I'm just really scared that something bad is going to happen. Rose.
Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back, because today I'm going to give you guys a review for a movie that I saw a month ago, but I'm finally going to have the time to review it for you guys today with this video. It is a film by Kal Penn, Smile. It stars Sosie Bacon, Kyle Gallner, Jessie T, Usher, Rob Morgan, and many more. And with that said, let's get started. Smile follows Dr. Rose Cotter as she experiences a very traumatic incident that involves a patient of hers, and she starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain, and everybody starts to believe that she has gone crazy. However, as overwhelming terror begins to consume her life, Rose must confront her past and try to do whatever it takes to escape this horrifying new reality she is trapped in. I didn't see any of the marketing for Smile that much. I've seen some things here and there, but I didn't know too much about what the premise of this movie is. So I came in with no idea what I was going to come into with Smile. And so now that I watched the movie and got the chance to think about the movie and what it was about when I watched it, I enjoyed it. It's a solid horror movie that's well crafted. There's really good scares in this movie, and it is carried by a very good lead performance by Sosie Bacon. I thought the movie had good performances from the cast here. Obviously, Sosie Bacon is really great as Dr. Rose Cotter. She's a very good lead character, where I feel for a character. She brought a lot of the terror, the dramas, and the gravitas to this role to make us empathize for her and just know how after this incident, she is just completely deteriorating with her mental state, and everybody starting to really lose faith and start to think she's an insane person. I really liked her a lot. She brings this character to life so well, and I was able to buy into this, and so as feel for her character in this horrible situation that has been placed upon her. And then I really liked the side cast too, with Jessie T, Usher, who I knew as A-Train from The Boys.
Here comes the A-Train, Mr. Fleet Feet, saving lives, no surprise like it's easy. There ain't no day like a race day. A-Train on the track like a raceway, yeah.
And so I really liked Jesse in this role in this movie. I thought he was really good to watch, and I was surprised to see him in this movie. And we also have Kyle Gallner, who was in horror movies, especially Scream 5 earlier this year, but I've always known him as Bart Allen, aka Impulse from Smallville, which is one of my favorite comic book TV shows of all time. So it's nice to see Kyle in this movie. I thought he did a really good job, and to see how he does a lot of stuff in horror, I want to see him do more stuff in the horror genre. And everybody in this movie is really great here. I really enjoyed everybody in this movie, and it's a very well-crafted movie where a lot of this movie focuses on her mental state deteriorating as she has been facing a lot of these issues because of this incident and how it affects her. And it really has a message on mental health and how to take care of it, and just what happens to somebody when they experience a lot of these things happening to them. And the movie also has some really effective scares here, where every now and then you got some cliche moments, but for the most part, I was very caught off guard by a lot of these scares. It is one of the most effective jump scares I've seen in movies this year, especially from a horror movie of the year so far. There are plenty of moments that really got me just really good. It freaked me out because of how unsettling it was. It was disturbing. It was terrifying. And you really feel for the danger of your lead character, because nobody else is understanding what she's going through but Sosie Bacon's character herself. And so I was left on the edge of my seat. I was very scared for her because the scary moments actually do land in this movie. And again, there are some stuff that you've seen before with horror in other movies that are applying themselves into this movie, but I found the horror here to be very effective, and it really got me quite a number of times. The movie also has a very haunting score, and I liked the way the movie is edited, where it really makes you feel like this is something that somebody can go through, and so is how they make it convincing enough to make this movie feel like a very haunting horror movie. I thought that is really good in this movie. I really liked the score. There's some really good moments when it comes to making this feel very scary and eerie, and I really liked it a lot. It gives that sense of worriness where you're just afraid of what's going to happen, and it adds to it, because I love horror movies when they can be really good, but I also love a good horror movie score because the score is so important for a movie, and there's a really good one in store with this movie. It's very well crafted and composed, and I just liked how that was integrated into this movie. And it was used at the right time, did not overstay its welcome. It was utilized very well, and it was effective. This is also a movie that had me stressed out at points where from the moment the movie begins all the way to when you get to the ending, I was getting more stressed as I watched this movie the more it goes on, because you see how people are starting to turn on her and her trying to really do whatever it takes to get herself out of the situation. How far is she willing to go to protect herself and try to get her way out of whatever the strange occurrences are happening around her. And so as just how her relationships with these people play out, whether it breaks down, it crumbles, or whether it builds. I really like it here where I was really scared for our main character. And Sosie Bacon, again, elevates it because she does a really good job as Dr. Rose Cotter. And so is the movie doing a good job at really making you care about the character, especially for me, because I cared about what was happening with her and how I really want her to be okay, be safe, and get life back on track. But obviously after this incident with that patient, you could see that all it's doing is deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating. And it was very stressful to sit through because there are a lot of moments where all I was doing was feeling so bad for all the misery she's going through with this. And it really got me so many times that I was just sitting there freaked out by what is happening to her. And it leads to a climax where it does feel like at times it took a bit to get to that third act, but when it gets there and you finally start to see things start to get to that full circle moment, it gets crazy because I was scared in that third act. There were a lot of moments there that really caught me off guard in my seat, and I really liked how the third act of this movie plays out, where you just had no idea what was going to happen. She made a certain decision, and how does that play out? What's the consequence of her doing this? And you really think about this ending. It gives you one thing. You're really hoping that this is what the ending is, and then it pulls you out from under and you find out, no, you get something else entirely that's a lot more horrifying.
No, 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 no.
And the ending shot scarred me for a couple of days. Like after this movie, I was just shocked by how this movie ended, that I stayed all the way till the end of the theater with this movie because, oh boy, that was absolutely, that was mind-boggling. I was so shocked by the ending. I thought the ending is really horrifying, and it really wraps up the movie on a somewhat scary note, and I liked it. When it comes to any issues, I do feel like the middle of the movie drags a bit. It's not a long movie whatsoever, but it does feel like it's just slowing down. It feels like we can progress things a lot more quickly, and some characters just faded from the movie, where after the second act of this movie, some characters are just never brought up again. We never hear from them again, and that feels very odd. It happens to certain characters in this movie, and I kind of wish we got more of them where they're able to factor in that third act, because I did like some of these characters, and so the fact that when you get to the climax and then you never hear from them again and they don't really have any sort of resolution is a bummer, because it feels like on the side characters part of the story, it's maybe not that complete compared to what happens with the main character. And so as the fact that at times it can be very formulaic, where even when you get to the third act, you kind of know how things are going to play out, what's going to happen, what decisions are going to be made. And so it does feel like it takes a bit for this movie to pick up steam after those first act of this movie until it gets to the climax, because it does drag a bit. But I do feel like the way that characters kind of just faded from the background, I think wasn't really complete with this movie. That's one thing I kind of wanted more of, is what happened to those side characters. And it can be formulaic, where you kind of have an idea on how it's going to play out with what was going to happen, what the characters are going to do, and what that's going to lead up to in the end. But I enjoyed it overall. It's a really good horror movie. I thought it's very effective and well directed by Parker Finn, and it does a good job at getting me very freaked out by what is occurring on screen with the smiling, and it really ruined smiling for me for quite a good amount of time here. So I enjoyed it. It's a good horror movie. It's definitely one I recommend watching if you have the time to go check it out. It has a great lead performance from Sosie Bacon, and I recommend it because it is a really good horror movie that I enjoyed watching. So in the end, I'm going to give Smile a B+. For quite some time, this movie has effectively ruined smiling for me.
No, 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 no. Wait. Wait.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on Smile. What are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos that I have planned over the next coming weeks, because next week we finally get the release for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I am super excited to see the sequel to Black Panther, see what Ryan Coogler and the crew have in store with it. I am really excited for that one. I'm going to have a review and a spoiler review for that movie in the next week, so please go stay tuned for all of that exciting stuff coming your way. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below, so please go do that while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more. And don't forget to smile.